it's Megan and welcome back to my channel, Preschool Teacher Addicted to Diamond Painting. Today's video is going to be a time-lapse paint with me, yay, again. And today we're working on what I call Pig. So this diamond painting is a full round drill with the clear covering, but it didn't come with an inventory sheet, so I stuck the canvas into my copy machine, into my printer slash copier, and I made my own. I just made sure that I copied the key and the picture, what it's supposed to look like in the end. And then I got this sweet little piggy face with it. So I'll give you all the information first. I call it Pig. I bought this off of Amazon last April of 2018, so I've had it for a while. It's been sitting in my queue. It was $8.99, which now looking back, that's a lot of money for something this size. It's a 30 by 40, especially a round off of Amazon. I was a little surprised. It has 13 colors, as you can see. It's a 30 by 40, like I said. It's a full round drill, like I said, and all the drills were included. There were no sticky drills, which I like to make a note of on there as well. So then the other things I'm using for this video, obviously the drills that it came with. After I did inventory, I like to put a little piece of paper in the bag that says the name of the painting of what I refer to it as. So I have Pig, so it matches up with Pig. And then I just like to put how many colors there are, because if I am going to use containers, I need to know how many containers I need. But because this is a pretty decently small, rather not so complex painting, I just decided that I would work right from these bags. Because the way I'm doing this is I'm doing one color across the entire canvas at a time. So I don't really need small containers because I'm not going to be opening and closing them constantly. I'm just going to have one bag out at a time. So that's why I'm choosing to keep them in their little baggies. This is how they came, which is really nice, in these resealable bags. If they weren't resealable bags, I would probably put them in bags like this. But each bag has the number that coordinates with the key, and actually the number and the symbol coordinate up until number 8, and then it turns to a P, and then 9 is a 9, and then from 10 to 13 are letters. So this is a really simple one. The other things I'll be using, I've got a few pens. Sorry you guys, I've got this like cold and this frog in my throat. Oops. Don't roll away. Okay, so these two pens, pen grips I made recently, just a little tangent side note really quick. I call them my unicorn series. I made this one first, and then I got a little creative and made this one. This is just made from the Rainbow Loom. They're not like, they don't last forever. You know, the bands deteriorate. So, but all of mine that I've made from the past years still work. But I can tell they're not going to last forever. So just a quick little tip for you guys. I made this pen grip with 5 rows of bands. But I noticed that when I still used it, it would push down, and it was a little too loose for me. And I think the culprit are these like clearish bands. I think they slide easier. So what I did is I just started to twist it. And as I twisted it, I noticed that the pen grip got tighter as I twisted it. So, and I kind of like the look of it now. So if you have a loose, sorry if you heard Chris, if you have a loose loom band grip, sorry you guys, hang on. You can always just twist it to make it tighter. This one really slides because they're all blue, these blue clear ones. So I really twisted this one up, and it helps a lot. I have to retwist it every now and then, but it really works well. So, anywho, tangent over. I have my single tips as well as this one. This is a, I twisted this one too. I think this is a quick stick. Yeah. So it's not the pick-me-up pen, it's the quick stick. I like it because it has a narrower tip to it. And I just twisted that too because what the heck, I like the look of it. By the way, if you guys don't like how this keeps untwisting, I read a comment that said, someone commented that you can get tape, like at a hardware store, that can go on tread. But the only problem with that is that I don't know if you'll be able to screw it up anymore to get more tack out of this end. I'd imagine you would, but it would just be harder to do. So I might try that with this, but this grip also helps to keep it from unscrewing as well. So then I've also got my 3 drill tip and my 6 drill tip at the ready for this project as well. As you can see in the painting, since this is a full drill, the whole background is pink. So there's going to be a lot of color to lay down in the background. So that's when these 2 pens are going to come in pretty handy. I'm also using a large capacity diamond tray, and I have 2 smaller green boats. These are for when I have to lay less color. This is for when I have to lay a lot of color, so I'll be using this mainly for that pink background, so I don't have to refill it as much. But I have 2 of these because if I do come across any drills that are stuck together, I put some in the tray, and then I call it the 2-dish squish, and you just squish, 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 and you hear popping and cracking, and then you take it and you kind of like scrape the bottom to get the, because the static will make drills stick to this part, and then you've got a pretty decent amount of drills that are good to go right there. I've also got some wax. I like these large ones because I use one end for my single tip and then one end for my multi tips. That's kind of like what I like to do with it. And then I have my washi tape that I'll use around if there's any exposed glue around the outside perimeter of the painting. I'll cover it with washi tape so that it doesn't get lint all over it, and scissors to cut that tape. I also have my light pad on my lap desk. I've got some clips to clip my painting to my light pad. I've got my handy dandy new overhead light that has been working fabulously on both settings. I like it, but there's so much natural light right now in my room that I don't think I need that. By the way, I covered my windows with this privacy film and I'm loving the look of it. It's so pretty at nighttime. Okay, I've also have my tweezers over here, and I have a garbage cup right here hanging off, and I just have a spare piece of washi tape to tape back that clear covering of the diamond painting. Oh, and a couple extra large clips in case I have to clip anything to the table. And of course I've got my trusty handy dandy light pad at the ready. So yeah, that's about it, you guys, and I'm going to get started. Okay, so when I was recording this video, I had recorded doing the entire background in a few different videos that I then time-lapsed. Now, when I was putting them together, I accidentally deleted one of the videos and lost it, and I couldn't retrieve it. So I apologize, but as this video is starting, you can see that some of the background near the pig's tail is done, and so is like the top half. So I was really upset by that, but what are you gonna do? No sense in crying over spilt milk. So we're just gonna keep going, and I learned from that mistake. So I've been playing around a lot with the different drill tips, and in my previous time lapse I talk about how I'm using the 6 drill tip and the single and the 3 drill tip the most, and that's what I'm doing here as well. Here I like to play around when I have a lot of color to lay, and obviously this is, you know, I see 6s for as far as the eye can see with this painting. So I kind of played around. I'll use the multi-tips, and then I'll, you know, do the checkerboard method, which is what I'm doing now. So I'm just laying down diagonal diamonds. And I'm sorry about the flashing of the light pad again. I finally figured it out, so it will get better. And here I'm slowing down to show you what I mean when I say I use the 3 drill tip to place single and double diamonds. I've tried to explain that before. So I load my pen with 3 drills, and I'm going to zoom in real close so you guys can see what I do here. I'm going to put my pen down at an angle so that only one of the drills touches the glue initially. Okay, and that's not perfect, but that's okay. And then I'm going to go the opposite way, which is easier for me, and then I get the middle. So I'm going to load my pen with 3 drills again. I do it at an angle to get the first one down, the opposite angle to get the one on the end down, and then the middle one's next. So I tried to slow it down for you so you could really see how I do that. A lot of you have said that you wanted to learn more about that. So I was hoping with slow motion that you'd be able to see it a little bit easier. I only slow-mo it to the end of this line, and then I go back to time lapse. But I just wanted to show you how I do that with angling the pen in different ways. The reason why I use the 3 drill tip the most to do this is because I find that I have the most control with the 3 drill tip. I've tried doing it with the 6 drill tip and I just can't get the right angle to the middle diamonds that I need to. With the 3 drill tip, it's just 2 on the outside and 1 in the middle, and it's much more versatile and user-friendly. So that's why I choose to do it that way. I've also noticed, so I'm doing the checkerboard method right now with this painting, but it's obviously not the same as if I were to do a checkerboard with square diamonds. So with a checkerboard with square diamonds really helps to keep the diamonds straight, because they kind of push against each other in the end and they all kind of line up. With the circles, with the round diamonds or circle diamonds, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but it does kind of help you break up the monotony of laying a lot of color. And I also noticed that it does help you to center the symbol underneath the drill. So some people say, how do you get your drills so straight, or your rows so straight? And my answer is they're not straight. They just look straight because it's on camera and you can't see as close up like with the naked eye as I can. And just a side note here, you can see how I am using the 3 drill tip to lay this checkerboard pattern. And since I can't just lay them diagonally, I have to angle the pen in different ways. But I also, you see my single drill tip go in the shot at some point too. That's because I'm straightening them, because not, every time I lay a drill, it's not always perfect. So I usually have to go back and fix it. Yeah, I find that, okay, going back to what I was trying to say before, is that I get my drills on my symbols by centering the symbol underneath the drill when I lay it, if that makes sense. So instead of relying on the individual rows, or keeping the rows straight, or making sure that they're equidistant apart, I just simply center it. I just put the drill as close, as covering as much of the symbol as possible. I try to put the symbol right in the middle of the drill so that they end up being straight in the long run. And with squares, it's kind of more of a necessity if you want to get straight lines with a multi-drill tip. With a single drill tip, sorry. I'm using the multi-drill tip now in this video. So I like to just switch it up. When I realize that I'm getting tired with one thing, I'll try another thing. With squares, if I get tired of the same thing happening all the time, I'll pick up my tweezers and I'll try using tweezers for a little while until that gets boring, and then I'll pick up a pen again. Not boring, just kind of mix it up. I don't want to get too used to any one thing, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to talk about the background. All right, everybody, so I've completed the pink background of the pig painting. Whew, it was a lot of color, but we did it. So now all I have to lay down are the drills that go on this precious little piggy and his little blue bandana. So let's get back to it. Something I noticed that I do when I diamond paint that I didn't always do is that I noticed that I choose the next symbol, the way I choose the next symbol I'm going to do is what pops out at my eye or what I see the clearest next. So what I used to do is do any symbol that would make sense to do, you know, or like I would go by section and then work from like left to right or right to left or however it would work. But now that I have done enough of diamond painting to realize what works for me, I noticed that it really does help me if I can, you know, see the symbol that I'm trying to lay. It saves me a lot of time, and it'll save you a lot of time too if you choose symbols that pop out at your eyes the most. It saves a lot of time searching for those darn symbols that you're trying to look for that you always miss at least like one of. So the pig skin on this diamond painting was tricky to do because, as you can see, the background color of the symbols are pretty close. You know, the E's and the 9s and the, you know, what other color? And even the 4s. I mean, it's slightly darker, but it was still tricky to do. So I was kind of dreading the skin color. That's why I chose to do the bandana next. I figured it'd be much quicker to do. So yeah, and I was talking before about why I prefer the 3 drill tip. Not only do I like to use it as a single and a double drill tip, but also I find that the 6 drill tip, which I'm using right now, doesn't line up on the symbols as well as the 3 drill tip does. So I don't know why that is, but you guys try it out and let me know what you think, because I think that they're too close together on the 6 drill tip. They're too squished together. That's why you see me constantly using my single drill tip to straighten them, push them around, and so that's kind of annoying to deal with. So I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with that 6 drill tip and why it's so hard. It's almost like as I'm laying down the full 6 drill tip, I have to kind of push it up as I go in order to cover the symbols, and I always have to go back with my single drill tip anyway and fix each one. And so I'm like, is this really shorter though? If I'm going back to fix each one, is it really worth it? So I'm going to keep playing around with it. And obviously, the more you work at something, the better you get at it. So I think it's just going to be one of those things that you have to practice with. You know, I keep saying too that I like to take breaks with round diamond paintings between my large square projects. But another another quality I look for when looking at a break whip or a break work in progress is the colors that the diamond painting contains. So for instance, this one has very delineated lines. You know, the background is all one color. and then you can pretty much see the pig's, you know, nose and then the eyes and all that. So I look for diamond paintings that are not only round and smaller, but also have big blobs of color so that the symbols are easy to find and that I can lay color quickly. A lot of the paintings I have are what I've referred to in the past as having mucked up drill fields, which means the symbols are just all mixed up. They're very, very mixed, which is great, but it's very exhausting to work on a diamond painting like that for a really long time, especially if it's a really large diamond painting. So with this pig, for instance, I could see, you know, there weren't very many colors to use in the first place, and you could pretty much see, other than the light pinks of like the E's and the 9s, you could pretty much see, you know, where the colors were, which is a nice mental break as well. So I don't know about you guys, but those are the two things I look for. Either, you know, a round or a special diamond now is what I look for when I want to take a break from my beloved squares. Because I love the squares too, but at the same time I'm also really coming around to those rounds. When I have a large space of one color, like I did with the backgrounds, or like I do with the pig's forehead with all those E's, I tend to fill in as much as I can if I'm in the mood for this way. If I'm using multi drill tips to lay color, I tend to work from biggest to smallest. So I'll use the 6 drill tip to fill in as much as I can with 6 at a time, and then I'll go back through and I'll fill in, you know, 5 at a time or 4 at a time, only, you know, grabbing 5 or 4 drills on my tray. That's how I do that. And then when that's finished, I fill in the rest with my 3 drill tip, and then that's usually it, because I use the 3 drill tip as a single drill tip and as a double. So that's usually my method if I'm trying to be super, super efficient. If I'm trying to just break up the monotony and just enjoy myself, I do crazy stuff like I've mentioned before. I do the pinball method, where I just go diagonally across the field with the same color, and I just keep going and going until I have a checkerboard. Or until I start to fill it in. It kind of reminds me of the DVD player, the old DVD player symbol, when you would have your DVD on pause for so long, and the DVD player symbol would just bounce around to the screen, and you'd watch for it to go in the corner, but then it would never do it. So that's something I do for fun when I'm trying to, you know, like I said, break up the monotony and spice it up a little bit. And then I have to go back through usually and fix the rows. People say my rows are so straight, but like I said, they're really not. And you can tell in this video, you know, because I'm so close up to so many rows of drills, that they're not perfect. And that's okay. You'll drive yourself crazy trying to make every row perfectly straight. No one's going to notice it, because when they look at this from a distance, they're not going to be able to see the tiny little circles anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I'm not too worried about it. I don't want them to be completely janky, because that just leaves gaps on the canvas, and gaps are something I don't like. I do not like getting gaps on my canvas. It happens a lot with me when I'm laying any light color, especially with squares, mainly with squares. I'll get a gap because I, lay the whites too far over or something, and then the canvas, the black grid lines on the canvas show through, and so I've had to kind of figure out how to get get around that, find my way around that problem. But it's only mainly with all my white that I do with all those, Harry Potter paintings and everything that I've got. All that white just shows any gaps really, really clearly. So whenever my advice to you, if you're ever laying a lot of a light color like white or like a light yellow or really light colors, just keep in mind, keep checking and making sure that your squares are where they should be, and even rounds, make sure the symbols are being covered, because it's a lot of work to go back and fix all of the drills that you just laid, especially if they've been sitting in the glue for a little while, because they're, more stubborn to move and stay where you try to put them. So I decided not to talk during that song, during the first half of that song, because I thought the guitar was really relaxing, so I didn't want to interrupt. But one thing I did want to talk about a little bit is this cover paper. So I have mixed feelings about it. I've never had a clear paper on a large diamond painting before. So I can't speak to any opinion based on actual experience with that, but I have had large paintings with the opaque, like the white paper on top. And I like it because not only can you see where it starts and stops, because it's, it's a color, it's white, but you can also cut it very easily to the section that you want to work on. I used to fold back the cover paper, but now I don't do that anymore. Now I just cut it off and then put it back on if I need it, and then take it off when I'm done laying all the drills on the glue. And when all the glue's covered, then you don't need the cover paper anymore, unless you want to keep dust and hair off of it or whatever. But it's just too cumbersome for me, so I just end up just throwing the pieces away that I cut off. But I know a lot of people don't like the clear paper. I don't mind it for small diamond paintings, especially partials, but I don't think I would like it on a larger diamond painting. Like I said, I think it would become a little too cumbersome if I couldn't really cut it very easily, and it's hard to see where it starts and stops. A lot of people use washi tape as a guide, and that's great if you find something that works for you. then that's all that matters, because whatever works for you is what matters. I think by working with the same material for a long time, you can learn what works and what doesn't. And I just haven't had the chance to work a ton with the clear covering because, like I said, I only do these smaller partials or rounds that typically have the clear covering during my in-between projects, project times. So I don't frequent them, I guess is what I'm saying. I'll do one every few months, but now that I'm doing these time-lapse videos and people seem to like them, I'm probably going to be doing them more often than that. So I can't stop thinking about how I deleted that video and you guys missed the whole, like, I don't even know, 3/4 of the background getting filled in. Ugh, that disappoints me a lot. But live and learn. All I can do at this point is to move on. So this video is actually sped up 16 times as fast as what it is normally. So that means I'm going pretty fast. This is not me in real life, guys. Or maybe it is and I'm just so fast. No. This was a good painting to do, though. I really enjoyed this one. It was fun. It was really fun. I'm going to let you guys watch this a little bit more, and I'm going to talk about some staticky drills and how to fix that problem. So I will talk to you in a second. Okay, so I just went to take the number 1 out of the bag, and as I was pouring it, I could tell that we had some static issues, some issues with some static electricity. So to remedy that problem, sorry, I'm just gonna tilt my desk so it's flat. I'm going to take the light pad off for just a moment, and I'm going to get just some regular old dryer sheets. I've had this box for a while. I'm going to lay it out. You probably don't need a whole section of a dryer sheet either, but that's what I'm just going to use for now. You dump all your staticky drills onto that dryer sheet. I think I dropped one. Oh, yeah, I got one on the bed. I'm working on my bed right now, if you don't already know that. I'll just do the whole bag, what the heck. I've had a lot of leftover colors with this painting so far, so I wasn't going to do all of them, but okay. So once all your drills are in this dryer sheet, you just, I sort of fold it in half, and I just kind of like rub my way down to open it back up. The reason I do it that way is because you want to make sure that each drill is coming into contact, whoops, with the dryer sheet to neutralize the static cling. So this is actually the same way I wash drills with baby wipes or Clorox wipes. It's the same thing I do. You can also, you know, like as long as they're in the middle of your dryer sheet, you can also kind of just like pinch it so none fall out, and fold it, sort of. And then you can just like kind of go back and forth with it, just so they all come into contact with that dryer sheet, and then we should be good to go after that. Okay, so let me get them all back to approximately the middle-ish. And voila, hopefully did the trick. We'll have to see when we pour it into the boat. Here's my boat. I'm also going to wipe my boat with the dryer sheet. I do that every once in a while because with the dry air and everything of the winter, I've noticed a lot more staticky drills happening. Sorry, my sleeves have these little like there we go, little straps to them so I can button up my sleeve. All right, so we'll try this now. And see how it works. All right, got them all out. Did spill a couple, of course. My day's not complete until I spill drills. All right, they're a little clumpy still, but I have a feeling that's because of the softener on the sheet, so it should be able to work for what we need it to. I'll just tap it a little harder. There, that's pretty good now. All right, let's get back to it. We're gonna give this little piggy a nose job. I just had to stop to say that. I cracked myself up. So I normally have a recipient in mind when I do a diamond painting. I like to buy diamond paintings with someone in mind who I'm going to give it to, so that I know where it's going once it's finished. And I had a recipient in mind for this one when I bought it last year, but I'm not too sure about that anymore. Because it was a child, and children's interests can ebb and flow depending on the day. So I'm not really sure if she still likes pigs or not, but you know, I guess I can ask and see. If she does like pigs, I'll probably, so I already gave her a diamond painting of a pig. It was like a baby pig on a strawberry. And I had it framed behind glass, or I framed it, I guess I should say, and it looked really good, and that was around as well. So I'm thinking maybe I should just get a similar frame that I did last time, and frame this one, and then she could have two. This one looks different than the other one, but this one's, you know, cartoony, and the other one is not. So, yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this painting when it's finished, but I will think about it. And until I figure that out, I put them, especially small ones like this, I just put in a long, shallow bin that like a Tupperware container that I keep under my bed. All my finished diamond paintings that fit in there that I don't want to hang yet or not sure what I'm going to do with them yet kind of just live in there until they get decided upon. So I also store my, and I'm going to do a video on this too, but I store my current work in progresses on a pants, I think it's a pants hanger. It's one of those hangers with like 4 different tiers of clips. And then I put the whole thing inside of a garment bag that zips to keep the dust and hair or anything off of it. And it seems to be working really well. The only thing that I would caution people to is if you're going to hang a pretty wide painting on there, obviously only as much as you can only hang as wide as what the garment is, you know, however wide the garment bag is. But you just have to move it down because the top corners of the garment bag are curved, if that makes sense. So you'd have to move it down. That's what I had to do. One of my paintings, my Harry Potter castle, Hogwarts, I guess I should say, my Hogwarts painting was getting curved corners because it was right at the top. And I thought, well, why don't I just move this painting down? Duh. Could have been way, way simpler and it wouldn't have been bent. And it's not ruined. It's totally fine. I can fix it and it's really not a problem. But there's a little bit of advice for you on that, on storing of your diamond paintings, completed and not completed yet. Here's Pig all finished up. Altogether in real time, it took me approximately 14.5 hours to complete, which makes sense because the last time lapse I did was only a 25 by 20, and this one's a 30 by 40, so it makes sense that it would take me twice as long to do this one. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of pink, but you know, it was good. I really enjoyed this one a lot. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, but when I figure it out, I will do an update. I think there's too much light right now in my bedroom where I am. There's a lot of natural light, and I don't think it's there we go. It's catching too much light, I think. But believe me, it's very sparkly. So yeah, so if you want to take a gander at, here's my inventory sheet again. I'll put this up here in case you didn't, or you don't want to rewind it to the beginning. Yeah, so it was 13 colors, full round, $8.99 from Amazon. If you're interested in buying this painting, the link is in the description below this video, as well as our Facebook group, but I'll talk about that more in a second. So let's look at these extra drills. I didn't run out of anything. I had plenty of extra, especially all the blues and stuff. Didn't use much of those. And they always give you, I think, 10% extra, just in case. So yeah, I've got plenty of extra to fill my extra drill containers in case I need more. This was the background, so I had a lot of that extra because there was a lot to start with, and 10% is going to be a lot more than something that I didn't use much of. So lots of extra colors. I'm just gonna swipe this off my table. Yeah, so that was pretty much it, you guys. I really enjoyed it. If you're interested in this painting, this little pig with a bandana, I'll put the link below. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, Diamond Painting Addicts, Preschool Teacher Addicted to Diamond Painting, that link is also in the description below this video. And yeah, so thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks for watching.